I've spent some time with these Drop Plus Grell OAE1 signature headphones now, and over the past few weeks, it's been really refreshing slowly uncovering and experiencing the attentive design choices and the spacious soundstage of these open backs. So today, I'm going to share with you some really cool features I picked up on while using these OAE1s, as well as some subtle, easy to miss details that I really grew to appreciate from a development perspective. Alright, so diving straight into my first impressions of these headphones, I was really happy upon unboxing the case to find multiple options for connectivity for a wide variety of different applications or listening preferences. As you can see, we provided a dual entry cable with this 6.3mm stereo plug, which unscrews to reveal a 3.5mm plug to accommodate the different terminals you might pair this device with. We also included a 4.4mm balanced stereo plug, which was an addition I wasn't expecting to like so much right off the bat. However, the cross-section of the headband in the OAE1s reveals that there's actually an overhead wire, making it possible to power the device and receive balanced audio from either side of the headphone through a single connection. I ultimately found myself gravitating more towards a single entry configuration as it let me align my audio cable with the side closest to my amp, which was a nice quality of life change from the wires constantly catching or tangling on things. Whichever connection style you bias, it's always good to have the extra set of cables, especially if you're constantly on the go with different devices, buying new audio equipment, or just want to experiment with your setup. Also, not sure if anyone cares, but I am a total sucker for attention to detail in just about any product. And there is something so satisfying about how these plugs perfectly click into place and look super flush when fully inserted into the audio jacks. Just make sure you're plugging in the red connector to the right side and the unmarked connector to the left side if you're using the dual entry cable, that is. And I gotta give a big shout out to the designer for labeling the right and left ear cups. I still find a way to mess it up somehow, but definitely appreciate it for clumsy people like me. Speaking of orientation, let's talk about the big focal point about these headphones, the 40mm audio drivers uniquely positioned at the lower front edge of the cup. We've already spoken extensively about the sonic principles behind these in our other articles and videos, so definitely give those a look if you're curious about the story or acoustical considerations behind their development. But now, let's quickly go over the implementation because wearing these and hearing these is a whole different experience. When examining underneath the outer cage or peeling back this dust cover, you can clearly see the deliberate one-sided placement of those drivers. That's not a typical centered audio driver that fires sound perpendicularly over and into the ear. And that's precisely how Axel Grell, designer of these OAE1 signature headphones, wanted things to be. Instead, these drivers are inserted at the lower front extremities so that the angle of the sound waves radiates in a manner that is most similar to sound sources projecting from in front of the listener, which, FYI, takes advantage of the natural anatomy of our ears by following how they ingest and render audio in great detail by reflecting sound off the pinna, aka the outer ear, and into the inner ear. That's a pretty big qualitative difference you're not receiving with most headphones, since those centered audio drivers are playing sound directly into the ear canal, completely skipping over the spatial information provided preliminarily by your pinna. And to further ensure that the quality of the audio going to your ear is best preserved, Axel Grell even considered factors such as the acoustical impedance in the construction of these listening devices. Closed back headphones are going to be the biggest culprit of impedance because the sheer density, absorption, and internal reflections will rapidly degrade the quality of the sound and imaging. So ideally, we would want a completely open headphone to eliminate these issues altogether. However, past attempts and implementations of a completely open chassis have traded performance in the bass frequencies for lower impedance, a sacrifice you as the listener should never have to make. So what did we do? We tuned these headphones for both rich audio with great bass reproduction and low acoustic impedance. By peeling back the dust cover once again, we'll be able to demonstrate this. We already have this super open metal cage on the outside, but behind that is this woven stainless steel mesh that creates a fully uniform, open and breathable pass-through that allows sound to radiate naturally to the ambient environment with low interference. So say goodbye to unwanted reflections and obstructions and enjoy a supernatural sounding listening experience. And you probably don't even need this reminder, but don't be like me and wear these headphones backwards. It'll sound pretty funny if you do. Since the audio was intended to be heard from a front-facing directionality, make sure you're checking the driver location or using the right and left labels to orient the headset correctly. And if you have a little extra wiggle room in the cup, try to have the drivers as far forward as possible to really utilize the shaping of your ears. Now, let's quickly talk about powering this device. The OAE-1 signatures do have a decently low 38 ohm impedance, which normally means their power requirements are relatively low, but we definitely still recommend pairing it with an amp to provide them with that little bit of extra juice to sound and perform their absolute best. Most desktop headphone amplifiers should do the trick for this. And if you've been wondering about the amp that I've been using throughout this video, that's going to be the ST amp from Earman. I also wanted to mention a couple more of my favorite things about these headphones. I've been hinting and showing these throughout the course of the video, but I still felt it deserved a direct mention. All the contact points like the headband, dust cover, and ear cups are readily removable, and were designed to be snapped on and off like puzzle pieces should you ever need to do this, which might be a hint for things to potentially come. And finally, one of the most underrated parts of the OAE-1s for me has to be this adjustment strut. When you're resizing the headband to the appropriate fit, the extension and retraction of the support column feels so smooth. Just that little detail alone gives it such a unique and premium feel. With that said, I hope this video gave you more insight and appreciation for the Drop Plus Grell OAE-1 signature headphones. And if you want to continue learning more about them, we'll have our site linked below for more articles and videos for your reference. We hope to continue hearing feedback and impressions from you on projects like these, and hope that those of you that picked up these headphones have an amazing listening experience.